Welcome back to the Bitcoin Edge. Today we're diving into more insights from Michael Saylor, the brains behind MicroStrategy, which owns 158,400 Bitcoin, worth approximately 4.1 billion as of November 2023. MicroStrategy has returned approximately 134% since the beginning of 2023, mostly due to the rise in the price of Bitcoin. During a recent interview at the Australian Crypto Convention, Saylor reveals why he believes that Bitcoin is a better investment than real estate. Saylor uses buying property in Zimbabwe as an example, which is funny because that's where I was born and where my family currently live. My brother actually develops property in Zimbabwe, and I assure you, people do want property there. However, Saylor makes the point that if you have to leave suddenly, property is not ideal for moving your wealth. Being from Zimbabwe and visiting frequently, I see clearly that Bitcoin is for net producers, that is, people with excess money. This is not financial advice. It is best to understand Bitcoin or any investment before investing, and understanding Bitcoin takes many hours of research, which is what this channel aims to facilitate. Please like and subscribe to help the channel, and let me know how much of your wealth is in Bitcoin below.
Property is a good investment. And the reason property goes up by a factor of 1,000 is because if you look at it, what you realize is politicians can't make more of it. You can't print more property. The garden is the garden. The Sydney Harbor is the Sydney Harbor. You're not going to wake up and find out that there's 100x as much beachfront property as there used to be. So when the money supply expands by a factor of 100, and the number of acres on the beach in Miami Beach stays the same, the price per acre goes up by 100. And that's why property is a good investment. The problem with property is you have to buy it in chunks of buildings at a time or acres at a time, and sometimes the best property isn't available for sale. The second problem is there's property tax. So if you owned all the property in the middle of Sydney, you're going to get taxed on it by the mayor and by the province and by the country. And a lot of times people can't afford to pay the property tax for 100 years. And then if someone zones your property, or if there's a war, what if you owned the nicest property in the middle of a war zone? What if you owned all of the nicest property in Ukraine, in Kiev, right? It might be devalued by the war. It could be devalued by a pandemic, by an earthquake, by a tsunami, by a tax. If I handed you $10 million and you lived in Africa, and you had a choice, buy $10 million worth of property in Zimbabwe, anything in Zimbabwe for $10 million. You could pick anything you want in the entire country and buy it for $10 million. Or would you rather buy Bitcoin, $10 million worth of it? Well, the property in Zimbabwe, maybe it's scarce, but it could be impaired and it's not mobile. And maybe you don't want to live there. And maybe the people with the money in 100 years don't want to move there. So it's not clear that you'll be able to mortgage it or rent it or sell it or carry it with you. But on the other hand, Bitcoin is capped. Bitcoin is like Manhattan in cyberspace. It's 21 million city blocks in a cyber Manhattan, and one day 8 billion people will want to live there because everybody in the world, all 8 billion people in the world want to be wealthy. They all want to keep their money. There's no one that doesn't want Social Security and economic well-being, not from now to the end of eternity. For 1,000 years, people are going to want the money. So if I created the most stable, most secure, most immutable crypto asset network of 21 million blocks, and everybody in the world understood it, they're all going to want a piece of it. And a lot of it's been lost. So probably we're down to 16 or 17 million Bitcoin. And the thing about Bitcoin, which is better than property, is A, it's scarce, but B, it keeps getting more scarce. When people lose their keys, there's less Bitcoin, not more. And it's mobile, and it's portable, and it's fungible. And it passes what I call the Bernard Arnault test, which is if you want to make a good investment, you should buy something scarce and desirable that someone richer than you and more cultured than you and smarter than you will want to buy from you in a decade.